Welcome back to the Halloween Spooktacular number 5. As you're aware, this is Halloween. Back at it. We're back on our bullshit. And I should mention, today is Halloween. This is the first time that has happened for this podcast. This is Halloween. And as an added bonus, tomorrow would have been the release of Sleep with the Lights On, but we decided to do a Halloween-themed Sleep with the Lights On, and it is dropping today as well. So, isn't that nice? No tricks, just treats. That's what we're all about. You're welcome.
Send them kids out trick-or-treating and listen to our nonsense while you have some peace and quiet between
Demons
knocks.
are real.
Demons are real.
Human demons.
Sure. So without any further ado, folks, actually with a little bit more further ado, we are doing a different type of format today. We're testing out something that may be the direction we go for any kind of Patreon or membership, which is pretty much finding stories. This entire podcast has been, for the most part, telling stories, finding, true accounts from people, firsthand accounts, whatever, sharing those stories with you guys as it is written. Today is a bit different because Christian and I have just been slaving away on some stories. And instead of reading them, what we've done is we've taken the stories and we rewrote them without changing any of the actual meat and potatoes of them. So it's a little more cinematic, or I guess dramatic, or whatever, if you will.
I'll be the judge of that.
You will be the judge of that, yeah. And actually, the people listening will be the judge of that, because that's their job, and that's fine. I guess we just kind of want to test this out a little bit to see if we could liven up some of the energy a bit, So it's just something different than usual. It's just a teensy bit off from what we usually do. And if you guys are a fan of this particular format, be sure to let us know so we can decide whether or not to go in this direction for the TFD After Dark or whatever the situation may be in the future. It's all about A/B testing for us over here. We're very professional, but who cares, right?
I went to school for 10 years for this.
He did. Yeah, and that was just the 7th grade. So it's fine, honestly,
This is 6th grade.
Oh, sorry, I misspoke. Classic me on this podcast, right? However, what are you guys doing for Halloween, huh? Happy Halloween. Here we are, looking ridiculous as usual. Comment below what you're wearing or what your kids are wearing. That sounds weird when you say it like that. You guys get the idea. What is your Halloween tradition? What are you doing tonight? Are you staying in and praying?
I have the day off.
There you go. Look at that. What a treat. Haha, what a treat. So we've got some stories for you guys today. We've a few musical interludes that may or may not make their way in between the stories while Christian and I go tinkle or whatever. And yeah, but for now, I suppose we'll just get on with the episode. We will see you on the inside.
Welcome, spooks and specters, howling wails and screams, to another TFD Spooktacular like nothing you have seen. So grab your finest costume and raise a can of beans. We'll share some scary stories of monsters, ghouls, and creepy things. This is Halloween! This is Halloween. Welcome, ghouls and ghoulies. What terror will we bring? A TFD Spooktacular. This time on Halloween. This time on Halloween. This time on Halloween.
Welcome back.
I never left.
That's right. I was witness. He was sitting there the whole time. Let's go ahead and get into one of these stories, huh? Folks, I already asked you what you're doing for Halloween. I don't know how else to make this holiday themed, all right? This is my voice. It's an audio podcast. You can't see anything. If you want the video, you want to see how ridiculous Christian and I look, go ahead and go to the YouTube channel at Freaky Deaky Pod, subscribe, and watch Sleep with the Lights On. Dropped Thursday, a day early. Isn't that a treat?
You're welcome.
But for the audio podcast, all we're doing is sharing some stories and talking shit. You know how we do. I don't think it would be a Halloween episode without mentioning one of our favorite ghosts and ghoulies, and that's the Hatman.
He's not my favorite.
Yes, he is. You told me.
I've never met him.
In time. Anyway, so the original story was by a user on Reddit called Little Stitious. Perfect name.
Little what?
Little Stitious. Like not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. I think it's The Office. I think that's a quote from The Office. Beautiful. What a way to start.
I have never watched The Office.
And that was your first mistake.
I've seen plenty of clips, though.
I guess that's all you need. And we begin. I'm going to see how my voice does on a long-ass story. I've been working on some new music myself, so my voice is very strained.
You got to do your vocal exercises.
I know. I never have. Never have. Anyway, the house was old, built in 1900, and had seen generations come and go. But it was more than just a relic of a forgotten past. It had secrets buried deep within its walls, waiting to be unearthed by those unfortunate enough to live there. On a quiet afternoon, the air thick with summer stillness, a young boy, no more than 11, was alone inside. His mother tended the garden outside. His father was away, leaving the boy to wander through the home's narrow hallways. That's when he saw it. A shadow, tall, impossibly dark, drifted across the hallway wall. The silhouette was unmistakable. A man, garbed in what appeared to be a long coat, with a top hat sitting perched upon his head. It moved with an eerie calm, gliding through the hall as if tethered to the house itself. The boy froze. His breath caught in his throat. His mind raced for an exploration. I need adventure. Oopsie. His mind raced for an explanation, a reason that made sense of what he had seen. It was an old house, he thought. Perhaps it was just a trick of the light. But something lingered, an unsettling sense of something darker at play. Years later, he would learn the Hatman, a figure whispered about in certain circles, a manifestation tied to homes plagued with abuse and despair. It was said he preyed on the vulnerable, his presence a harbinger of the worst kind of evil. Though the boy had no way of knowing this at the time, the shadow was merely the beginning of what the house had in store for him. Strange things seemed to happen frequently in that house. Objects would hurl themselves across rooms without warning, as if an unseen hand had grown angry. The boy's bedroom, however, was the worst of all. A room that carried an unnerving sense of dread. He refused to sleep in it, no matter how much his father mocked him for his fear. His father, a man of rigid skepticism, would tease him, dismissing ghosts as mere fairy tales for the weak-minded. Oh, I forgot to mention this is a Christian story. One night, tired of his son's constant complaints, the father decided to put the boy's fears to rest once and for all. He announced, with a confidence only a non-believer could muster, that he would sleep in the room himself. The boy watched his father walk into the room with a smirk, proud of his bold stance against the unknown. But the next morning, the boy found his father asleep on the couch, his face pale, his usual bravado gone. The boy noticed the new additions to the bedroom, a series of portraits of Jesus and holy crosses nailed into the walls. When he asked his father what had happened, the man's lips tightened into a thin line. He refused to speak of it, offering no explanation for the change. But from that moment on, something had shifted in his father. He became a believer. Do you see how easy that is, Christian? Do you see how easy that is?
It would be
Just one experience. He's like, you know what? I believe now.
It wouldn't do it for me.
Meanwhile, me here 4 years in a row being like, ghosts are real. And you're like, well, I don't know, but...
Demons are real.
And I'm like, yes, that we can agree on, but also ghosts. It's fine. Years later, when the memory had faded into the recesses of their minds, the father finally confessed. He had woken in the dead of night, startled by the sensation of something crawling up his leg. Oh yeah. At first, he assumed it was one of the family cats. But when he looked down, there was nothing. No cat, no creature. Just an empty room and a creeping sense of unease. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, the blanket at the foot of the bed began to move. It wasn't yanked or pulled violently. No, it was worse than that. It was dragged, methodically, as though an invisible hand had carefully lifted it off the bed and dropped it onto the floor. That was all it took. The father had fled the room and never returned.
What a wuss.
I know, I'm like, of all the experiences you could have had that lead to like crosses and portraits of Jesus, you would think it'd be a lot more than just someone pulling the blanket off.
That shows you how fragile this this generation that I'm putting into my head is.
Oh, wow.
It's the...
Turned yourself in there, yeah.
No, I feel like this is the generation before mine where they're like really tough, but if they're confronted with something a little bit like this, they like go a little overboard.
But see, that's all it really takes, though, is one. It doesn't matter how small it is. It takes one thing to prove that something is doing that.
For wimps.
No, not even for wimps, for
Whatever,
anyone.
this guy,
I mean,
I'm a tough dad, you're wrong,
I'm
kid.
smirking at you while I'm walking in the room.
Go in there and like the blanket moves and he's like, I gotta nail Jesus to the wall.
Well, that's a little sacrilege, but that's fine.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, having that, Ghostbuster energy of I ain't afraid of no ghosts, and then like literally
being afraid
the
of
next
ghosts.
morning, yeah, you're like, oh, I guess never mind, I am afraid of ghosts.
Well, I mean, the generation I'm imagining this story's father being is afraid of everything.
Wow. Christian made it up. Don't have that one loaded. This is the Halloween episode.
Why do you just think I make things up? I never make things up.
Why are you always making stuff up, You say you never make things up.
You don't see me making up stories of a mythical Hatman.
I've heard you make up plenty of weird mythical stories.
Dogman.
Ooh, that is attacking our two recent guests. Unacceptable.
I do it in jest.
Unacceptable. I'm going to text them out of context. I'm going to be like, just clip this one part back. Dog man, he sucks. It's fine. That was all it took. He had seen enough. After they left the house for good, selling it to a single woman. Oof.
Oh, very nice.
Very nice. The family tried to forget, but the house was not so easily forgotten. A few months after the sale, the new owner called the boy's mother, her voice edged with uncertainty. She had a question. Had the family ever experienced anything unusual in the house? She explained that she had made the boy's old bedroom her own, but she couldn't shake the feeling of something watching her, something wrong. The room was so unsettling that she had abandoned it, opting to sleep in her guest bedroom instead. Though years had passed, the boy, now grown, remained skeptical. He wasn't one to believe in spirits, in things that couldn't be seen or explained.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Didn't he already see this crap? And now he doesn't believe?
You witness stuff and you're skeptical now, so I think anyone can really change as they get older. And I think the more years removed from your experience, the less real it becomes in your mind. You kind
of rationalize it.
Yeah, and so it's like, oh, maybe that was just something weird,
Maybe it's just my brain.
Maybe it was just my brain. The old brain talk. So early in the Halloween episode.
This is your brain.
This is your brain on Halloween. Anyway.
That never gets old.
That never gets old. Except for probably one or two people on YouTube are going to chime in. And guess what? Hey, my show.
Also, this is Halloween.
This is Halloween. Yeah, you can't really... This is Halloween.
Just in case you forgot what today was.
Yeah, it really is. And it's definitely not October 5th. And anyway, to close this out, he wasn't one to believe in spirits and things that couldn't be seen or explained, but there were moments, quiet moments in the dead of night, when he couldn't shake the feeling that what had happened in that house wasn't just his imagination. Others had seen it too. Others had felt the darkness. And the house still stood, waiting for its next occupants, its next victims. The Hatman. He was patient. He would return.
He always does.
He always does.
Especially when you take too much Benadryl.
Especially that. Yeah, beautiful stuff. What do you think, Christian?
I think it's a good story, but I'm very disappointed in the dad. What's even more disappointing is this dad probably lets the wife go to church on Sundays and watches football. And then the minute something creepy happens, all of a sudden going to throw Jesus pictures up there like he goes to church.
Well, that is something people tend to do when they're faced in scary situations, turns out.
Yeah, but if you're, don't you feel like in this case, you can't just be like dialing up Jesus when you get scared. You can.
That's exclusively what people do.
You can, but it's not the right way to do it.
You're right. It's not the right way, but I think any way that you come to Jesus is, in the end, it's a good thing, Christian.
No, I'm not sure that if you
don't think so?
When you're just showing up when you're scared, I think you get left in queue on the call line, maybe. I mean, maybe it is voodoo. Maybe it is what?
Voodoo.
Ah,
Yes, of course. Voodoo magic. What do you think of the format? Do you think that, does it pull you into the story more, or does it make it less believable because it's written as like a first-person narrative, or I guess that'd be a third-person narrative?
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. See, that's the one thing I wondered when I was doing this. I'm like, if I spice up these stories,
It's harder to read, though.
that's fine. My big fear was like, if I, even all the details being the same, just spice up the rest of the story, make it a little more cinematic, right? Theatrical, if you will. It's your boy. Are people going to believe it less and think it's, oh, this was just something that, oh, are you afraid of the dark? No, like these are real stories, just rewritten in a way that brings them to life a little bit more in the audio form. So you're welcome.
I'm not afraid of the dark.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts. That's what that's a soundbite I need. That's the soundbite, especially for Halloween. But unfortunately, I don't have it, and I wasn't well prepared. Damn it. It's fine. I'm going to go and get more prepared. But before I do that, I'm going to actually lead us into a little songy poo to get us into this next bit here. We'll see you guys after the musical intermission. Hit it.
Trick or treat, deliver me a can of beans this Halloween. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. Give me something savory. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. I just want a can of beans. I just want a can of beans. Beans.
Oh, I was like, I'm going to use this interlude to pour my coffee.
You really took way too long to use this interlude. And
I was listening to the fucking awesome music.
You know what's really depressing? And I might, maybe at the end of the episode, I will put a couple of the other alternative versions to some of these songs because it is really hard to choose. I'll usually narrow it down to like 3 that are really good. I'm like, I don't know which one to go with. And so like that one I sent you with the female singing that intro song for this episode was haunting, super good. I love that version of it, but I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll use it. I'll throw that at the end somewhere too.
Having the music is much better in the morning recording sessions.
Yeah, it is. We don't have to talk as much. We just sit here and listen and wake up. And
yeah, it wakes me up.
That's right.
I do miss the talking a lot, though.
I miss the sound of our voices.
My voice.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Getting in this next story, it's called The Barn. The original story was by Flying Free YT.
Is there an owl?
There's something weird in this story, Christian. You'll find out very soon. Otherwise, it'd be weird if I put it in the episode, especially the Halloween episode. I'm not that man. Anyway, it says riding horses was supposed to be a peaceful experience.
It's not. Horses are scary.
Yeah, say that's my crotch. No, it's fine. Anyway, don't say that's my crotch. It's fine.
Please don't talk to Scott's crotch. That would be awkward. Are you going to give them candy if they talk to your crotch?
I mean, I can't see anything better to give them after that, you know? So anyway, riding horses was supposed to be a peaceful experience. For anyone who frequented the stables, they knew that being the last person there was more of a hassle than anything else. The barn at night was an eerie place, and the silence could wrap itself around you, amplifying every creak, every shifting shadow. She was the last one that evening. The others had gone home, leaving her the final task of shutting off the lights and taking her horse back to its stall. But her horse wasn't kept in the main barn. No, she had to walk him down the narrow path that snaked through the property where the trees leaned in close, their branches like skeletal fingers. The moon hung high, the only light she had casting an anemic glow on the path. She didn't have her phone on her, didn't need it. The horse, her trusted companion, was bomb-proof. He'd never been spooked by anything. Not wind, not strange noises, not even the occasional critter that rustled through the brush. But tonight was different. The first sign was his sudden stop. A horse as steady as the ground beneath her feet, suddenly rearing, thrashing his head back like something primal had set him off. His eyes, normally calm, now rolled in their sockets, showing too much white. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Her eyes scanned the path, searching for the cause. At first, it was nothing more than shadows and trees playing tricks on her under the pallid moonlight.
My mind's playing tricks on me.
Classic. Always. Maybe that was it. A misplaced shadow, a trick of the light, a deer, maybe? Then she saw them. Eyes. Human eyes. Staring back at her from the shadows. They weren't animal eyes, no. Too deliberate. Too aware. She froze, her breath caught in her throat, hanging there like a scream that hadn't yet formed. Her mind raced to comprehend what she was seeing. Was someone there, or was it worse? Was something there? The air seemed to thicken, her chest tightened. Just as she was about to let out that scream, a sudden blackness washed over her. She blinked, and for a moment, her vision went dark. It wasn't a blink of normalcy. It was a blink of nothingness. Just like my life. Anyway, as if the world had briefly ceased to exist. Then, just as abruptly as it had come, the darkness receded. She stood there, still, the horse beside her. His wild eyes had softened, his breathing slowed. Whatever had seized him had released its grip. Shaken but determined, she pushed forward, guiding him the rest of the way into the barn. She placed him in that stall, her hands steady though her heart still pounded in her chest. The night had returned to its deceptive quiet, but something had shifted. Something had shifted.
Yeah, shifted right there.
I heard it. I felt it.
I felt it
It
too.
was a rumble. No one isn't gonna, that definitely didn't pick up on the mics. And literally everyone's gonna be like, what the hell are you talking about? Belly noises. It's fine. She couldn't quite name it, but the air felt heavier, and the darkness, though familiar, now seemed to watch with intent. She left the barn, locking the door behind her, the memory of those eyes lingering. They had watched her once, and she knew deep down they could watch her again. No,
The
just-
Watchers.
There you go. Would you look at that? Ooh. So this was a weird one. And moving on? No. So the idea of, and I guess I can see why barns would be spooky at night, right? You just got that one hanging lamp, and if it's a little windy outside, then maybe I'm picturing like the creepiest rundown barn of all time. Clearly, I don't own horses. So if you guys thought this podcast was blowing up to the point where Christian and I can afford horses, you're mistaken, all right?
You're mistaken. You're mistaken if you think I'd have a horse, even if I could afford it. They're beautiful and everything. I don't knock horse owners, but I have a little bit of a fear. You have a fear of the Hatman. I have a fear of horses.
So of the two of us, which one is more of a, I don't remember what the word you used was, but it was,
Horses are real, so you should be afraid of them.
yes, we're talking about two real things. One is a horse and one is a dark entity that preys on you while you sleep at night. I don't know. Of the two of those, I would probably be a little more afraid of the dark entity that preys on you while you sleep at night, but that could just be me. And, we're blessed enough to live in a country where our opinions,
Don't matter?
well, yes, but can also differ,
They can differ.
They can, and they do, turns
But
out.
there's always a Karen on the other side of your opinion,
Oh, yes.
no matter what your opinion is.
Mm.
I want peace.
Well, I'm going to yell at you until I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's kind of the opposite of how that should work, but it's fine, I guess.
So who was watching this girl? In her
A pair of
horse?
human eyes. But the weird thing is, like, after seeing these eyes, you just, like, black out.
That's aliens.
It was aliens. Damn, I just got rid of that one.
Or, maybe it is voodoo. What a interdimensional Bigfoot.
Or astral projector. A pair of human eyes watching you.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I've never heard someone see something and then just black out. But it doesn't even sound like it was like a full-on blackout. Like she, like, blinked, everything went black, which is what happens when you blink, turns out. Theoretically, in theory, yes.
You don't get colors when you blink? Or when you
It's
close
like a
your
dark
eyes?
maroon, maybe. It depends on if light's hitting my eyelids. If light's hitting my eyelids, then it's red.
I get a lot of purple.
Very nice. Yeah. Have you ever, what a weird place to take this. Have you ever closed your eyes and like you see things, right? Like if you hold your eyelids closed for a while, does your brain start making patterns and like weird?
That's how I like kind of meditate.
Like that's how I used to fall asleep.
I watch those. For me, it's more light colors. Like it's not really light, especially in a dark room. But there's whatever the brain's doing, I see colors moving across the eyelids and stuff. So I just watch it until I relax.
I haven't had it happen or noticed it happen in a long time. But as a kid, I used to, when I would close my eyes and stuff, if I just sat there and didn't do anything or whatever, like eventually the image on my eyelids was almost like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like geometric. Like you're racing down this like long straight path and these large shapes and everything are on the other side of you, but it's all geometry. It's all like this intricate pattern. It reminds me of those, there's videos that came out in like the 80s or 90s where it was like 3D animation at like its earliest and they're all shapes and weird doing like weird motion and stuff like that. I wish I could remember what they're called because nobody probably remembers those, but it reminded me of that.
I feel like there was a video game back in the early days of video games, maybe Tempest, that was kind of like that, way before your time.
That name sounds familiar.
Because I was a teenager or maybe younger when that game came.
Yeah, definitely. Way before
I think I was
time.
roller skating at that time. So that was pre-teens.
Well, that could have been last week. Yeah. We saw you with your suspenders out there, Christian. You can't hide it.
And my suspenders and my steel-wheeled roller skates.
Yeah, and the booty shorts, Christian.
I mean, you got to.
You can't forget that part, yes.
Back when I had a fro.
Back when you had a fro.
No, that's not when it.
That was last week as well.
You know, it's funny you bring up the astral projection thing just in jest, because somebody in the store last night was telling me about an episode that sounded a lot like astral projection, like where they basically were falling and then they were bouncing on the bed. And I was like, I've been there.
You know what the weirdest thing, and this is completely off the walls. I just remember this. I didn't have a chance to respond to it yesterday. My mom texted me. So in California City, my mom's got an old lady friend named Helen, right?
Yeah.
And
that's what you do there.
That's what you do there. She's like 100 years old, something like that. Great lady. And also the mom to my third grade teacher. So my third grade teacher was Helen's daughter. Anyway, so my mom texted me. She was like, I was talking with my third grade teacher and spending time with Helen today. She said she was listening to a podcast on the paranormal from a Christian perspective. And the podcaster mentioned that his web designer was Scott Walker. She thought, could it be the Scott Walker? I said, yep, it was Tony's podcast that she listens to. So my third grade teacher listens to the Confessionals. Dude, how weird. I haven't had a chance to text Tony and tell him that, but how fucking strange, man. What a small, small world after all. Or maybe a gigantic world and Tony blows up. So that happens too. But I got that text and I was like, what the actual hell? Classic stuff. Why didn't you talk to me about ghosts when I was in third grade, huh?
You don't talk to third graders about ghosts?
Now, you may not. I do constantly.
That's how you lose your
bus
teaching
drives
job.
by, I'm like, ghosts are real. Or if I'm at a stoplight, I reach my head out the window. I'm like, hey, y'all have a moment to talk about spirits?
I just got an image of Mean Girls where he's like, what is it? Do you want to touch my wiener or whatever? I think that was Mean Girls.
I know I'm not sure if that's Mean Girls, but it probably is. You'd probably know, but I've watched that movie like once, so I can't tell you. But I definitely know that, is that Mean Girls or is that Old School? Not Old School.
I've never seen Old School.
Something with Justin Long. Somebody help me out. He goes to college. Anyway.
Mean Girls is a great movie, but it's no Heathers. It's no Heathers.
And you know that because... And there's no Heathers here anymore. So,
did you ever watch the movie Heathers?
No. I think we've had this conversation before.
Great movie.
That's what you said. You said it then and you say it now. Isn't that nice? I'm going to get into another story here. And this story is about a child who used to spend his summers with his grandparents.
Mistake number one.
Mistake number one, indeed. I am reminded of that M. Night Shyamalan movie. Do you remember that one?
No.
Grandma or Grandpa had sundowners? Is it Sundowners?
I don't think that's M. Night Shyamalan.
I'm pretty sure it is an M. Night Shyamalan movie. But yeah, so the grandma does like weird shit and stuff, and the kids are staring.
I think I know which movie you're talking about, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So anyway, this story kind of reminded me of that.
I gotta watch Salem's Lot.
Is that a show or is that a movie?
It's a movie on
HBO.
Stream. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that. I was like, did they make a show about that? Because that'd be dope. I mean, him being a pervert side, but it's fine.
Please stop.
Dude, that Sleep with the Lights On episode is like comedy gold, man. It is so good. It's so good.
Don't bring that up.
It's so good.
I'm offended that you would take something like that and be like, you had your mainstream media moment right there.
What? Bringing the truth?
And I don't believe in saying mainstream media because I think it's ridiculous to say something like that.
It's all propaganda. Yeah.
I mean, most of it is propaganda, but some of it's not.
Some of it being like the cute stories about pets that they do from time to time. But outside of that, everything else is...
I don't watch it, so I don't have the issues that people that watch it have.
He's better than the rest of us.
I am.
Okay. So anyway, this one is called To Grandmother's House We Go. And the original story was by Raisin Bran Krompch. Krompch. What a hard word to say.
Scott, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just making sure. I led into the story already because it starts off like it feels like it's in the middle of a story, but it's not. I already gave the pre-text to the story, the little introduction to it. So anyway, that summer was the one when the house itself seemed to breathe, exhaling something darker than any shadow could muster. The boy, let's call him David, had always loved his grandparents, his brother too. Together they spent long days in their care, a carefree existence, punctuated by an endless stream of affection, sweet treats, and the kind of attention only grandparents seemed to give. But for David, there was always something beneath that surface, a feeling that clung to him like something cold resting against his spine. The house itself was nothing extraordinary. A typical home with aging wallpaper, the faint scent of mothballs, classic, had to throw that in there, and memories captured in faded photographs. But to David, it never felt quite right. Even as a child, he'd felt the subtle wrongness that lived in the corners, beneath the floorboards, just beyond the curtains that swayed with no breeze. He chalked it up to homesickness. What else could it be? But that summer, the unease became something else. Something much darker. No, it's fine. I really need that organ play. It was as though the house had slipped into a dream, but not the comforting kind. No, this was the kind of dream where you couldn't wake up, where reality itself twisted and frayed at the edges. David couldn't put it into words back then, but now he would have said it felt as if the house existed in a nightmare. A surreal place where nothing was solid and everything held the weight of dread. It wasn't just the house. It was his grandparents, too.
They're evil.
Of course.
Fucking aliens.
Classic.
Demons are real.
They were kind, loving even. Right after you said they were evil. Beautiful. But there was a sinister sheen to their sweetness, like honey tainted by poison. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were watching, always watching.
That's what they're supposed to do when they have a child around.
How dare you keep track of me? How dare you? I'll do what I please. I'm gonna go play in the river. I'm 8. I can't swim. See you later. Always watching, even when they weren't in the room. The heaviness in the air pressed against him, thick and oppressive, making it hard to breathe. He began to sleep less, then barely at all, lying awake as the house creaked in the still of night, as though something unseen was shifting just beyond his vision. Showers became impossible. The sensation of being watched intensified when he was most vulnerable, the water running down his back like fingers. He'd step out of the bathroom shaking, just knowing, that someone, or something, had been standing right behind him. His grandparents still smiled at him, still gave him cookies and tucked him in at night, but it was in their eyes. Something had changed. Something he couldn't explain. They were sweet, yes, but in a way that chilled his blood. And every smile felt like a hidden grin, as if they knew something he didn't. Years later, David learned the truth. His grandmother, the sweet old woman who'd sung lullabies to him and kissed his forehead before bed, practiced Santeria. Uh-oh.
I don't practice Santeria.
She didn't have a crystal ball. She called upon the dead with a Ouija board, invited them into the home. She also cursed people she didn't like. And his grandfather? His loving, doting grandfather was a man who'd spent his life drowning in alcohol, a cruel drunk who had abused his own daughter, David's mother, for years. It all made sense then. The darkness that seemed to follow him, the weight of the house, the way his grandparents felt both loving and terrifying at once. It wasn't just his imagination. The bad energy was real. The house was alive with it, steeped in it even. And the people he trusted most in this world, they were part of it, part of something far more sinister than he'd ever understood. Now, even years later, when David thinks of that house, he can't shake the feeling that something still waits for him there. Something watching, something smiling in the dark. In the dark. No, it's fine. Anyway.
David's being a little dramatic there.
Well, that is the dramatized version of that story, Christian. So yes, he is. And thank you for the compliment. Very fascinating that the overall theme of this story is he goes to his grandparents' house. Something feels off constantly. He always feels like he's being watched, feels like weird things, sees shadows in the corner of his eyes, all that shit. And then he finds out that his grandma actually practices Santeria. The darkness made sense.
It doesn't to me.
Because you're calling upon evil, you know?
Are you, though?
Yeah.
Do you even know what Santeria is?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
I know a lot of people sacrifice chickens and shit in their closet for it.
I mean, Christians used to sacrifice animals back in the day. Whatever.
Well, everyone technically sacrifices animals because we all love a good bucket of chicken and a good steak and a good burger. And I'm fine with that, but I don't do it in the name of deities or anything like that. I do it in the name of, I'm hungry, you know?
I disagree with you.
Vastly different.
I think most of our religions started off with sacrificing animals. And Santeria is a combination of religions.
Yeah.
Therefore...
What's the combination? Voodoo and Catholicism?
It's probably Catholic. Well,
it is Catholic.
I think it
Catholicism,
is.
right?
Yeah.
Whatever the. I don't remember what the second half of it is. It's funny. I remember the Catholicism.
I think it's an African religion.
Gotcha.
Because
I was thinking it was like Haiti. Well, I guess
Haiti was. That's why Haiti has a lot of black people.
Wow, pretty racist. Christian
Because
wasn't going there.
That's where they brought slaves to work the sugar field or the plantations.
Sure, why not? But it's not. You're not thinking like Louisiana or anything like that.
I mean,
or you think like originally, like the origins of.
I think it came over, and it's been a while since I've looked into it. But if I remember right, it was like a way that slaves could practice their religion, but they kind of hid it behind like Christian religion mixed with their home village type religion, and then it just kind of morphed into Santeria after a while.
I know there's a healthy number of very popular musicians that practice Santeria.
It doesn't bother me. You shouldn't sacrifice animals, but
you shouldn't. But here we are doing it.
In this day and age, but again,
the dark arts.
Maybe that's why the gods aren't listening to us, because we don't sacrifice animals to their name anymore.
Well, we are still technically sacrificing, but I'm not going to go into that. The Lord Molech, is it Molech? What is it? Molech?
Oh my gosh!
What's the other one? Molech and
Beelzebub?
No, maybe I'm just thinking of Molech. Why can't I say it differently every single time? But yeah, we're still definitely sacrificing to Molech.
Are we?
Yeah, it's modern now. It's modernized. Everything. It's all gravy.
I don't believe
nobody bats an eye. Christian,
I don't believe you at all. I think you're making shit up.
Oh man, if I had that made it up, I'd play it for myself. But I don't, and also I'm not making it up, so that'd be kind of hypocritical, and that's fine.
Okay, then he's incorrect.
You are incorrect. That's fine, folks. We're gonna take a brief musical intermission, and we'll be right back.
Time to dance.
When we get back from this song, Christian, we are in for a treat because we are going into a little story called Thrift Store Stuffies.
Just by, what's the name of that group that did that Thrift Store song?
Macklemore. And it's not a group, it's a man. Well, I guess Ryan Lewis was a part of it. It's fine. We're not here for that. Here is the song.
In a shadowy corner of the moonlit room, a can of beans whispers, sealing my doom. Echoes of laughter, the night takes its toll. With every creak, it's consuming my soul. Haunting notes ring, drawing closer to me. Oh, haunted by beans, I shudder and sway. In the spectral silence, they lead me astray. With piano soft keys, they echo my plight. A can of dark magic unraveled at night.
So anyway, let's get into this bad boy, huh?
What's it like to spend all your time ridiculing your father-in-law?
I got to tell you, there's a certain magic to it, Christian, and I hate that word. But when we're recording this right now, we just released the song episode, like the first episode that had the weird songs written into it. There was a lot of really good feedback for it, and people were like, oh, this is great. And I was wondering, I'm like, I feel like at least our listeners for the most part would enjoy it. Then there's going to be a handful, and there was, of people that didn't enjoy it or thought it was weird. And I'm like, you just don't get the show. And hey, it's fine. You don't get the show, Maybe
they don't like beans like me.
Yeah, they're like just triggered constantly. Like, damn it, I hate protein. But every single one that I do, there's like a beauty to it where I am so entertained for like 3 to 4 hours because I'll just be writing different things. I'll be testing different things out. And I'll go back to it and sometimes make like 100 different versions of something until I'm like, this is the one. And there's a sense of accomplishment knowing that I get to share that on a show like this.
Oh, yeah. Some of the songs start off great. And then I hear beans and I'm like, oh,
damn it. He did it again.
I need therapy.
Don't worry. Someone commented on YouTube and unfortunately it's going to be like 7 to 8 weeks before it actually happens for them. But they said that they're down with songs as long as there's also songs about me to make it fair for you.
I like that idea.
So I found your secret YouTube account. So I guess what I'm saying. Anyway, this is no, it's fine. It's a lot harder for me to write. Ironically, being as self-deprecating as I am, it's a lot harder for me to write negative things about myself in a funny light. But don't worry, I will. I'll make it happen. I actually attempted it once, but it didn't really turn out too well. So I have to go back to the drawing board. Turns out I'm just too great to have anything negative happen about me,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Thrift Store Stuffies. Let's get into it. It was the kind of thing that people don't talk about.
Thrift stores?
Hell yeah. The kind of story that, when told, is met with teasing and laughter, shrugged off as a kid's imagination gone wild. But even years later, the memories still crawled under the skin, too vivid to dismiss entirely. 7 years ago, when she was just 9, a young girl and her sister would make weekly trips to the local thrift store. I don't know why I said shop, damn it, Macklemore. Weekly trips to the local thrift store. Every Friday, with $5 in their pockets, they'd rummage through the aisles searching for new stuffed animals to add to their growing collection. The younger sister, around 7 at the time, had a particular eye for the strange and unusual, and one fateful day she found a life-size baby giraffe plush. It stood nearly 4 feet tall. That's not really life-size for a giraffe, but it's fine, I'll let it slide. Towering over most of the other toys, but what drew her in were its eyes. Almost human. Unsettlingly so. She was smitten immediately. After much pleading, their mother reluctantly handed over the extra $5 needed to take the creature home. It wasn't long before that giraffe became part of a small but growing menagerie. Alongside it stood a black lab, a lion, and a dolphin. But something was different about these new stuffed animals. Something wrong. The first sign was subtle, almost easy to ignore. The black lab would move.
That's what black labs do.
They usually do, that is true. Not the stuffed animal variety, turns out, but I guess this one did. At first, it seemed innocent enough. A child's imagination, right? Their mother would be cleaning the house while the kids were at school, and suddenly she'd find the dog standing in the hallway. Don't know how you can imagine that. That seems pretty physical. It's fine. She knew it belonged in the closet where all the stuffed animals were kept, so she would simply return it. Weeks would pass, and then it would happen again. Just the dog, and always in the hallway. The lion? That one never moved. But the dolphin? That was a different story. The dolphin had a habit of staring, always facing you no matter where you stood in the walk-in closet.
Dolphins are horny, so...
That is true.
Dolphin must have liked the mama.
This whole Halloween episode could have been dolphin horror stories, and it would have been the scariest Halloween episode of all time.
Dolphin horror stories?
This is Halloween.
Yes. Well, they kind of are horrors if you think about it.
Horrors?
No, horrors.
Horrors.
Actual horrors.
Horrors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I stand by that. And
I like the horror genre.
Well, I like the horror genre. Anyways, it never left the room. Never crept out like the others, but its unblinking gaze followed you with a persistence that felt unnerving. But the worst was yet to come. About 3 or 4 years after the first thrift store find, on a cold, stormy afternoon in late October, much like this one, the eldest sister came home from school early. Flu season was in full swing, and the sick feeling in her gut sent her back to the safety of her bed. The house was quiet. Her sister wouldn't be home for another 3 hours. Their mom was out getting groceries, and Dad was at work. She curled up under a blanket, trying to lose herself in TV.
That sounds heavenly right now.
Doesn't it? I know. Yep, we're both sleep-deprived, it turns out. While outside the storm brewed. The familiar sound of rain thumping against the windows was punctuated by the occasional growl of thunder. But soon, another sound joined the storm. A rhythmic thudding came from upstairs. At first, she brushed it off, thinking it was just the house groaning under the weight of the weather. But then there was the crash. The sound of shattering glass echoed through the house, a sharp break in the storm's soundtrack. Her heart jumped. She knew exactly what it had to be. Her mother had an old priceless china set passed down through generations, delicate and fragile. The house often shook in bad storms, so maybe, just maybe, a plate had slipped from its rack. Nice rack! But still, her
That's
stomach...
what the dolphin said.
Yeah, that pervy dolphin. But still, her stomach tightened with dread as she made her way toward the kitchen. The cats were already there when she arrived, their fur standing on end, wide-eyed and tense. They knew something wasn't right. She opened the door cautiously, expecting to see shattered glass, but instead, she found something far stranger. The giraffe. The same one that had followed her sister home years ago, now standing eerily in the doorway. Its nearly human eyes staring up at her. It shouldn't have been there. The stuffed animals had all been moved into her mother's closet after they'd moved houses. She pushed the giraffe aside and hurried to check the china. Nothing was broken. Everything was perfectly in place. Relief washed over her, but it didn't last long. As she turned to leave, a sudden violent bang erupted from upstairs. The closet door where the stuffed animals were kept had swung open with such force that the doorknob left a deep mark in the wall. Panic seized her, and she stumbled down the stairs, tripping over her own feet, barely able to catch her breath. She grabbed her phone and called her mom, her voice shaking as she tried to explain the noises, the giraffe, the feeling of being watched by something unseen. Her mother was on the way home, but the next 20 minutes were the longest of her life. The house was alive with sounds, heavy footsteps pacing upstairs, the low groan of something unnatural in the walls, and through it all, she could feel it, the presence of the stuffed animals, their glassy eyes watching. Waiting. They sold the stuffed animals not long after that. There was no explanation that made sense, no way to rationalize the strange occurrences, but she did some research later out of curiosity and found the exact giraffe plush online. It was made by a company called Melissa and Doug. But here's the thing, when they bought it from the thrift store, its eyes had been replaced. Replaced by what though? That was a question she was never able to answer.
I can answer that one. I mean, maybe it is voodoo.
I think you're right. I think it's voodoo.
I think it's fake eyes. Plastic eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird move to buy a stuffed giraffe and replace the eyeballs with human-looking eyeballs, yeah?
Maybe that's just the way they came out. When I was young, I had a teddy bear, and it accidentally went through the wash. So its eyes, kind of the ink in its eyes leaked out. So my mom had that liquid embroidery stuff. So she painted new eyes on there. They didn't look human though.
Yeah. The one thing though is she went online and found the exact same one. And by the way, Melissa and Doug, very popular children's toy company. We have plenty Melissa and Doug toys in the house right now.
I never heard of them.
A lot of the puzzles, like if you go to Walmart and you see like those little drop puzzles and stuff, a lot of those are Melissa and Doug. But it's strange that she went online, found the exact same giraffe, and noticed that the eyes were different. So why would someone replace a toy giraffe's eyes with human-looking eyes, you know?
You ever seen children? They're destructive. Maybe there was
You think it's a child that's doing this?
Maybe it was a future serial killer child that was...
Well, I think it's safe to say
torturing its stuffed animals and took out its eye. But...
and replace them with the victims of a human in their eyes.
This is just imagination. This is Halloween. I feel like these stuffed animals were right. You can't just shove stuffed animals in a closet. I feel like...
Oh, God.
Somebody hasn't watched anything that was made for children.
Are you playing devil's advocate for the stuffed animals right now?
Yeah, I am.
Are you saying, you know what? No, they can haunt you because you put them in a closet, damn it.
I mean, kids make kind of make stuffed animals real.
Wow.
Maybe there's some kid magic in there.
Oh, yes, of course.
You can't just lock up something with a demon in it in a closet. They get angry.
Yeah. Speaking of demons in a closet, I think that might be in the next one. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's in a TFD After Dark story. I don't know. Who cares?
Our listeners.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They do. Say, hey, what's up? Hey, sorry about that.
Scott forgot you were there.
Yeah, I did.
Just thinking about Candy.
Always. Always Candy on my mind.
Where'd you meet Candy?
Strip club.
No, that's where I met her too. Yeah. Different Candy, though. Seems to be a popular name.
Isn't that something? Yeah, I don't know. I figured, of course, I got to add the haunted children's dolls into the episode. That's a Halloween must-have, I feel. We got the Hatman, we got haunted dolls, creepy grandparents. What else do we have? Oh, I know. We have one more song before we get into the final story of today's episode of this week's Halloween Spooktacular. Beautiful.
We'll have another Halloween Spooktacular next week.
So we've got one more song for you guys, one more story for you guys before we hit the old dusty trail ourselves. And then what you're going to do is after you listen to the episode, you're going to head over to the YouTube channel. You're going to watch that episode of Sleep with the Lights On, and you're going to see how ridiculous we look. And we've made ourselves a fool once again for your entertainment. So please, please, please check it out. And if you're a fan of that, subscribe, comment, whatever. We'll be right back after this musical interlude.
How spooky, how neat, you're wrong again, oh what a treat. The spirit world has come alive to be your final reckoning. So please think twice about the tales you hear tonight. The spirits feed on disbelief, shattered remains of skeptic dreams. They'll come to claim their pound of flesh as you lay your head to sleep. So to our skeptic friends, keep an ever watchful eye. The veil between this world and theirs thins on Halloween night. This is Halloween. This is Halloween.
folks, as we get into this final story, we'd like to thank you once again for tuning in to the 5th annual Halloween Spooktacular here at the Freaky Deaky. We are so glad to have you. And we're going to keep you forever. You can't leave now. Haha, you're ours. Anyway, this next story and final story of the episode is called For Sale Not Haunted. Haha, a little callback to a couple episodes we've done already. This has nothing to do with real estate outside of the fact that it's a home. So let's get into it. When Eric was a boy, around 10 or 11, he had a friend from the poorer side of town. One day, that friend told him some unexpected news. His family was moving to a house in a nicer part of the neighborhood.
Moving on up
to the east side, no doubt. A few weeks passed, and Eric, curious, asked his friend if the move was still happening. The answer came back with an unsettling twist. No, they weren't moving. There was something wrong with the house. Years later, long after the innocence of childhood had worn thin, the friend revealed the truth to Eric. The problem wasn't plumbing or mold or a crumbling foundation. Something darker, something sinister. The house was haunted. A priest had been there performing exorcisms. Even then, Eric shrugged it off. Ghost stories were just that. Stories.
I agree.
I am wrong. But still, the house stuck in his mind like a thorn. By the time he turned 16, whenever his runs took him past that house, which sat on the edge of a row of homes next to the woods, he couldn't shake the unease that crept over him. Though he never saw anything strange, the house had a presence, a whisper of something lurking beyond. That was almost hella like Australian there. I tried changing the word. It was beyond, and then it was actually behind. And I was like, beyond? You're welcome to our Australian listeners. What a treat. Okay. A whisper of something lurking behind the windows, watching. He always picked up his pace when he ran by, his breath coming faster, not from exertion, but from a vague, creeping sense of dread.
Being a chicken.
Wow, these ghosts gonna come for you, Christian. Did you not just hear that Skeptic song? Did you not hear the Skeptic song? You gotta believe.
You don't have to do anything.
It's fine. I'll start the song again. Fast forward 25 years. Eric, now a grown man, was sitting with a friend, the comfort of a lazy afternoon and the distraction of a sports game filling the room.
Did he not leave his hometown?
I guess we're going to find out. His friend's girlfriend started talking, her voice mostly background noise, as is tradition. No, I'm just kidding. As Eric sipped his drink, only half paying attention. But then something in her tone, something in the details, caught his ear. Oh my God, it's getting Christian, I told you.
Sorry. Demons are real.
It's fine.
I almost became a ghost in the middle of an episode. I mean, maybe it is voodoo.
I think anything's possible at this point, Christian.
Hold on.
They're coming for him.
Ooh.
I told you not to make fun of the spirits on Halloween, Christian. You did this to yourself, all right?
Hey, we make fun of humans too together.
Yeah, and now a human's going to break in and murder you. Is that what you want? Sorry, YouTube. I'll cut that out. Can't say, God, what a ass world we live in. Don't worry, YouTube. I blocked that out too. It's fine. Anyway, something in the details caught his ear. She spoke of a friend who had recently bought a house sold at a suspiciously low price. Within a week of moving in, though, the friend had fled, packing up her things and retreating to her mother's place. The first night she and her partner had gone to bed, everything seemed fine, until the television downstairs suddenly blared to life. The volume cranked up to its highest setting. Her partner, annoyed but rational, went downstairs and turned it off. 10 minutes later, it happened again. He went down, this time unplugging the TV entirely. They both settled back into bed, relieved. And then it happened a third time. The sound pierced through the silence, deafening as if the house itself were alive. The man rushed down the stairs, and there it was, the TV on again, blaring, and somehow plugged back in. I was expecting, the TV was on and it was unplugged. Those stories are the best, you know? But they got us this time. The ghost was like, you know what? I'm not going to use my energy. I'm going to plug this back in.
The ghost was like, you can't play a TV that's not plugged in, even if you're a ghost. So I'm going to plug it in and do it the proper way with electricity.
As is tradition. Eric listened intently now, feeling a chill crawl up his spine. A few more strange occurrences followed, but the couple didn't wait to discover what else the house had in store. They packed their bags and left, never to return. The story had Eric's heart racing, not just because of the paranormal encounter, but because he knew exactly which house she was talking about. Without her prompting, Without hesitation, he described its location to her. It was the same house. The one that had always lingered in his mind like a shadow. The one his friend's family had nearly bought all those years ago. And to this day, even as a grown man, Eric found himself unnerved by it, avoiding the street it stood on, as if the house itself might reach out and pull him in. Some houses, it seemed, never let go. No, I'm just kidding. That's fine. We're back. This is Halloween. Let me ask you this, Christian. I already know the answer. If you buy a new house and move in, and you hear static coming from the TV full blare 3 times in one night, do you move out?
No, I buy a new TV.
You're like, oh shit, my TV is messed up. It's clearly not demons or ghosts, because that's not a thing.
I did see, and this is for everybody with haunted houses, and a Roomba. You put a little bit of sage on top of that Roomba. I saw it online the other day. I didn't come up with this idea. And just let it travel the house and get rid of them demons and ghosts.
Sure.
On the
first floor. Way. Only on the first floor. And not if there's steps.
So. It won't go down the steps if you...
That's what I said, not if there's steps.
So
if there's like a down step, like in our living room, good luck getting that bonus room.
All you have to do is walk upstairs with it. Put the Roomba.
That sounds like a lot of work for some. I'm trusting this robot to, free me of demons.
First mistake here: never trust the robots.
That is.
I feel like you don't.
Number one.
You have not heard of John Connor?
I have not heard
Sarah
John Connor. No, I'm sorry, I haven't.
Cyberdyne?
Not even a little bit. No,
okay.
Not ringing any bells.
That makes sense. I understand why you trust technology.
Trust technology. Are you listening, government? Huh? It's not true. You know that to be. Well, that's pretty much all I got for you guys outside of one more song that's probably going to annoy the hell out of Anthony.
Is it about beans?
You know what? I think it might be. No. I think it might be. What do you think, Christian? Did you have a story? Did you enjoy the format? Or are you a fan of the long form telling of ghost stories? Or should we keep it back to the word for word from the author?
I think it varies. Some stories, just sound great but I thought it was fine.
That's great. That's exactly what I was going for. Fine is what I hoped for, because it's fine. Anyway, did you have a favorite story?
I like the stuffed animals one.
That is probably one of my favorites as well, yeah.
As a former child that had stuffed animal, good friend, stuffed animals, Chips and Sniffs.
I remember that. Yeah, weirdest names of all time.
It is. I don't even know where it came from.
That's okay. My son has a seal stuffed animal named Fries, so
that makes sense with him.
That does. Yeah, my mom asked when she bought it for him at the Sea Life Center, where she was like, "What do you want to name it?" And he was like, "Fries." I'm like, okay, I think he's hungry, but it's fine. It's just Fries. Everyone say hello to Fries.
Fries is his go-to food.
That is very true. He had some fries last night.
He had some fries Thursday.
Wow, he's eating fries a lot, I'm noticing. Someone needs to keep this in check. Everyone just keeps giving him fries on their own. He just keeps working the system, being like, oh, yeah, I haven't had fries in quite some time. It's fine. Anyway, folks out there, happy Halloween, and let us know in the comments what your plans are for the evening. And if the plan does not include you going to YouTube and checking out the Halloween episode of Sleep with the Lights On to see just how ridiculous Christian and I look, sweating our balls off and also freezing simultaneously in this garage because we can't run the heat.
We can run the heat. We just can't run it when we're recording.
Yeah, it just makes weird noises, turns out. That's what heaters do. But yeah, let us know what you're doing. Let us know your favorite story.
And what's your favorite piece of candy to get? Or was it to get when you went out on Halloween?
There you go. That's how we figure out who actually listens to the episodes in its entirety. So we ask obscure questions at the end. And when people comment their opinions, we're like, oh, this is a real one right here. This person gets it. I wonder if I have that.
Let us know on our Facebook and we'll comment on there with our favorite candy.
So folks, have a safe and spooky Halloween. And we will see you over on YouTube in about 8 to 10 minutes, depending on what you're doing right now. And if you're not able to do it right now, set a reminder on your phone. You're not going to want to miss this. I promise you. It's the best thing that's ever happened to you in your life. You live a boring existence and it's fine. We all do.
Amen. You need to chill out.
Amen is what Christian just said. He said, amen.
Okay.
Yes. So anyway, we'll see you guys next week where we dive into, actually next week we have our guest from last week back, James, in studio for Freaky Listener Stories Volume 9, the re-recording. And you guys aren't going to want to miss that. It's one of my favorite freaky or listener story episodes, actually. So, and if you want your story to be in Volume 10, be sure to send in your stories soon. The window is closing. To the gang at thefreakydeaky.com. Find us on social media at FreakyDeakyPod. And remember to stay spooky, my friends. We will see you on the other side.
This is Halloween! Scary stories! Cans of beans! Anxious, paranoid delight. Dog man looking for a fight. Scott has opinions, and Christian thinks they're wrong. Not a good enough reason for it to be a song, but here we are on Halloween to freak your deek like you've never seen. Just kidding. Everyone knows it's always the same thing. Everyone knows it's always the same thing. A million different shows and it's all the same thing. Why are there multiple shows if it's all the same thing? This is the end of the song, something something about beans.
Yeah, that needs to be on Spotify.
That was too good, too good. And folks, if you want to stick around after that, I will put some of the alternative versions after this, so you can have a spooky ghost playlist. That's what I should have done. Maybe that's too late now. It's Halloween, but I should have
made. Is it too late? Maybe it's already there. Scott worked on it.
Maybe it's there. If it's not, then sorry. But similar to what we did for the Christmas episode with the just a music video, pretty much, an hour long of random songs. Maybe I'll do that for the Halloween. Or maybe I won't. Who knows? I'm a very busy person. But that doesn't matter. Happy Halloween.
In a Christian world.
Damn it. That wasn't the right one. But also a happy Halloween in a Christian world.
This is Halloween. TFD Spooktacular. This time on Halloween. This time on Halloween. This time on Halloween. Trick or treat, deliver me a can of beans this Halloween. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. Give me something savory. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. I just want a can of beans. I just want a can of beans. Beans, 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 beans. Trick or treat, deliver me a can of beans this Halloween. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. Give me something savory. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. I just want a can of beans. I just want a can of beans. Beans, 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 beans. Trick or treat, deliver me a can of beans this Halloween. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. Give me something savory. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. I just want a can of beans. I just want a can of beans. Beans, 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 beans. How spooky, how neat, you're wrong again, oh what a treat. The spirit world has come alive to be your final reckoning. So please think twice about the tales you hear tonight. The spirits feed on disbelief, shattered remains of skeptic dreams. They'll come to claim their pound of flesh as you lay your head to sleep. So to our skeptic friends, keep an ever watchful eye. The veil between this world and theirs thins on Halloween night. This is Halloween! This is Halloween! Has come alive to be your final reckoning. So please think twice. Don't doubt the tales you hear tonight. The spirits feed on disbelief, shattered remains of skeptic dreams. They'll come to claim their pound of flesh as you lay your head to sleep. So to our skeptic friends, keep an ever watchful eye. The veil between this world and theirs thins on Halloween night. This is Halloween! This is Halloween! In a shadowy corner of the moonlit room, a can of beans whispers, sealing my doom. Echoes of laughter, the night takes its toll. With every creak, it's consuming my soul. Haunting notes ring, drawing closer to me. Oh, haunted by beans, I shudder and sway. In the spectral silence, they lead me astray. With piano soft keys, they echo my plight. A can of dark magic unraveled at night. Once a mere pantry item, now a ghost in a jar. Its metallic laughter carries near and far. Beans from the garden, now cursed and so sly, they dance in the darkness while I'm left to cry. The chill runs deep where the shadows conspire. Oh, haunted by beans, I shudder and sway. In the spectral silence, they lead me astray. With piano soft keys, they echo my plight. A can of dark magic unraveled at night. A chill runs deep where the shadows conspire. Oh, haunted by beans, I shudder and sway. In the spectral silence, they lead me astray. With piano soft keys, they echo my plight. A can of dark magic unraveled at night. In this eerie waltz, I'm forever ensnared. Haunted by beans, my soul laid bare. Trick, deliver me a can of beans this Halloween. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. Give me something savory. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. I just want a can of beans. I just want a can of beans. Trick or treat, deliver me a can of beans this Halloween. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. Give me something savory. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. I just want a can of beans. I just want a can of beans. Beans. can of beans this Halloween. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. Give me something savory. No, I don't want no candy. No, I don't want no sweets. I just want a can of beans. I just want a can of beans. 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 Beans.
Oh, this is Halloween. Scary stories, bands of beans. Anxious, paranoid delight, dog man looking for a fight. Scott has opinions, and Christian thinks they're wrong. Not a good enough reason for it to be a song. But here we are on Halloween to freak your deek like you've never seen. Just kidding. Everyone knows it's always the same thing. Everyone knows it's always the same thing. A million different shows, and it's all the same thing. Why are there multiple shows if it's all the same thing? This is the end of the song. Something, something about beans.
Welcome, spooks and specters, howling wails and screams, to another TFD Spooktacular like nothing you have seen. So grab your finest costume and raise a can of beans. We'll share some scary stories of monsters, ghouls, and creepy things. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Welcome, ghouls and ghoulies. What terror will we bring? A TFD Spooktacular, this time on Halloween. This time on Halloween. This time on Halloween. Welcome, spooks and specters, howling wails and screams, to another TFD Spooktacular like nothing you have seen. So grab your finest costume and raise a can of beans. We'll share some scary stories of monsters, ghouls, and creepy things. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Welcome, ghouls and ghoulies. What terror will we bring? A TFD Spooktacular, this time on Halloween. 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 Woo! spooks and specters, howling wails and screams, to another TFD Spooktacular like nothing you have seen. So grab your finest costume and raise a can of beans. We'll share some scary stories of monsters, ghouls, and creepy things. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Welcome, ghouls and ghoulies. What terror will we bring? A TFD Spooktacular, this time on Halloween.